Greetings, fellow collectors. I'm back to bring you another video. This time it's going to be on my personal grails for my Voltron collection. I'd like to share with you some of these. I'm gonna do top 5 official grails and maybe 4 more runners up, if you will, that could basically either be or technically not be grails. But for me, there are things that I long for that were harder to get for whatever reasons, and we'll get into it as we explore each one. But first, I think we should definitely define what a grail in collecting is. And basically, what a grail in collecting is, it's something that's extremely desirable and hard to get, whether it's for price, whether it's because of scarcity, whether it's because of age, or many other reasons. Okay, you could also have very personal reasons for something being a grail, whether it's something that you connected with as a child that is now harder to get, or something that just fills that void in your collection and that again has been harder to get for X amount of reasons, and now you're looking for it, trying to fulfill the need. So that in a nutshell is a grail. Now, for me, some of these are true grails, and some of these are, I would say, quasi grails. Okay, or just a little south of a grail, but still something that I really wanted to get, and am super happy that I was able to get into my collection. So I'm going to share with you. Hopefully, this is a fun video for you, and we'll learn a little bit about these things. If you have any questions or if you want to share any of your personal grails, please leave it in the comments. I always get back to comments. Okay, I always reply, and I love just sharing different experiences and learning from you guys. Okay, so go ahead and leave a comment, hit like if you like, or if you don't like, hit not like, right? But definitely, enjoy the video. Here we go. Okay, this is going to be my first runner-up, or rather my fourth runner-up, forgive me. Okay, and this is a Hallmark ornament, Christmas tree ornament. This was produced in 2017. Okay, and it was a North American exclusive. I think they were exclusive to Walmart stores. Now, when I saw this a couple of years ago, and I'm going to say about 3, maybe 4 years ago, is when I first learned of this particular ornament. I saw it online in an image, and I said, what the heck is that? I've got to have one of those for my Christmas tree. So I started doing the research from way back when, and I, again, this was North American exclusive. It is said that some of these were sold in American Walmarts, and most of them were sold in Canadian Walmarts. Now, here around my local neighborhood, I do go to Walmart regularly, and especially around Christmas time, my kids love Christmas tree ornaments. So we're always shopping for fun ornaments for them. And so I've never come across one in the many years that we've been going to Walmart. And so when I saw it, I was like, I got to get this. I got to get this. My kids every year fill the tree with ornaments from Toy Story, from Frozen, from Cinderella, from Snoopy, from this and that, and things that make them happy, but nothing from my childhood. And so when I saw this, I said, oh, here we go. Now's my chance. It's my turn. And so I had to get one. And when I did find a couple of these online, and there's not that many online. Okay, so when I came upon it online, these things were going anywhere north of like $90, between 90 to like $150 in some cases, and I thought that's just ridiculous, because this was at retail. This was a piece that was like close to $10, like under, maybe like a $9. And I just thought it was ridiculous. And so for a while I just said, this is not something that I'm going to get. It's just beyond my price. I definitely don't think it's something that I need. I don't desperately need it. And so for a good while, for a good couple of years, I forgot about it. Now last year, Hallmark went and produced another Voltron ornament, and I'll show it to you right now. Okay, this is the box. Okay, 2024. Okay, there's the ISBN, if that's helpful to anyone. Here's the back of that box. Okay, now I was able to get a couple of these. I did buy two online in Hallmark.com, and I think they were around $20 or $25. Don't quote me. When I purchased each one, and they haven't sold out. I think they still have them online, and I think they have them at closeout prices, obviously, because it's only for the 2024 year. So if you're in the market for one, go ahead and go to Hallmark.com and try to get one. They're still fairly cheap, and buy one. I loved it. My Christmas tree looked great with this one. But anyhow, back to the topic. So this reignited the passion back for this first Voltron ornament. So I did find one from a seller that had a more reasonable price. I think he wanted somewhere around $89. And I did, we did message back and forth, and eventually I got him to bring this price down. I told him my story, I gave him my spiel. And he took pity on me, and he lowered the price, and I said, heck yeah, man, let's make a deal. We made it happen, and I was able to get it, and here it is in my collection. All right. And this isn't per se a grail, but it's one of those things that was pretty hard to come by at a reasonable price. So I'm very, very happy. Very happy to have it in my collection, and my Christmas tree will look great for this coming year because it's going to have a couple of Voltron decorations. Yay. Let's move on. Next runner-up. Okay, next runner-up is going to be this little guy right here. Okay. Now, this is the Blazing Sword edition of the Voltron figural bag clip. Okay, these come in these sealed surprise packages. Okay, and I think these were released just last year, 2024. Okay, come on, focus there. All right, and they're made by Monogram Incorporated, or Monogram Productions Incorporated. And I'll show you the package. So this is the package right here. I think you can still find these online mostly, and I think you can even get them on Walmart.com. Okay, and this is the lineup. Okay, there's a Voltron, and these are made of colored foam, but they're pretty well detailed. Okay, these exclusive, that's a green lion and a blue lion, and that's kind of like a flat bas relief kind of piece. For instance, Allura, and you get all the characters in their outfits. Okay, now I'm embarrassed to say that I purchased like 30 of these packs, okay, over time. And through all 30 of these packs, I was only able to get one of these guys. All right, just one. I have multiples of the other characters, sometimes 4 of them. Like I was able to get 4 Princess Alluras in her princess outfit and in her Voltron outfit. Like 3 hunks. I mean, I blue lions. I like 3 blue lions, 2 green lions. It's crazy. But the Voltrons, themselves, I was only able to find this one And I had two of the regular Voltrons, but they both kind of came like deformed. I think the packaging makes it so, based on the weather conditions, they kind of like take the form of how they're being squeezed in the package. Um, so I did want to get one more of these, maybe with a nicer leg, because the leg here is a little bit wonky. And of course, I'm a collector. I want my things to look good and be in a nice condition. So definitely hard to get, because it just depends on luck. And again, this one was really really hard to get. So runner up for me. Okay. Now, as far as the retail price of these things, I purchased half of them around $4.99 a pack. No, I'm sorry, about $3.99 a pack, so $4 each. Then I got a few of them around $5 a pack, and some of them at $6 a pack. And now I don't even think you can find them that cheap. I think now they're like between $7 to $9 a pack if you can find them. But they are getting more hard and scarce. Okay, so they're fun little things, especially if you have kids. You can put them, clip on their backpacks. They look cute. Now let's go on. Next runner up for me is going to be this. Oh, I'm sorry, no, not that guy. Next runner up is going to be this guy right here. Okay, let me set him up for you, and I'll be right back. Okay, so this is technically my. Let me see. That's second runner up. This is obviously a stuffed character. Okay, this was made by Flophouse Pancakes, and let me tell you about this, guys. So I did the research on Flophouse Pancakes when I came across an image, obviously online, because this is where we live. We live in an online world, and when you look up Voltron collections and things like that, sometimes you come across gems, sometimes you come across things you've never seen, and this is one of those things that I'd never seen it. And when I saw it, I said, "Oh my gosh, I gotta get it." It's based on the Voltron Lion Force. It's a stuffy. You can't find them anymore, and obviously, I had the FOMO or whatever you want to call it, but I had it, and the only cure was trying to procure one. Now, I wasn't able to for many years, and just last year, as it happens, a seller put one up on Mercari, okay? And it went up, and as soon as I got that notice on my email, for Mercari, hey, new Voltron thing's up. So I clicked on it and I saw it. Guys, I jumped on it, okay? Now, originally the guy wanted a little bit too much. I messaged him. I said, will you take this? I'm a huge Voltron collector. This will go to a good home, I promise, and it'll be cherished, it'll be taken care of. And I offered him so much, and he said yes, okay, deal. And guys, now it's here, and here it is. Okay. Now this is a canvas stuffed character. All right. All the design seems printed on canvas. Excuse me. All right, it's got the horns. Look at the back. Okay, there's the label. Oop. Voltron. Okay, this is not a toy. Legalese. Can you focus there? Let me see. Okay, that doesn't want to focus. Come on, guys. This is not a toy. Okay, it's not meant for children under 14, much to the chagrin of my children. Okay, again, made by Flophouse Pancakes. Okay, now I did do the research, guys. So this particular piece, as I understand, was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive that was released 2014. Okay, now I like Comic-Con as much as the next guy. It's not one of those things that I can make to, multiple years. It's pricey. I have a big family, and it's just hard to it's hard to go. So obviously, I'm gonna miss out on some of these collectibles, and so this was one of them. I missed out on it, and then once I found out about it, I had to get it, and luckily, I was able to get it thanks in part to a great seller up in San Diego. And if you're watching this video and you're that seller, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Okay. Now, I love this piece. My kids want to take it from me every other day when they see it. They say, Daddy, can we take your Voltron? We're going to treat it nice in our bed. And I said, no, dudes. This one's mine. I don't want you drooling all over this one. This one stays with me. And I still feel a little guilty about that. But you know what? So what? It's mine. I'm sorry. They didn't pay for it. I paid for it. So now it's going to stay in my collection. And I'm that much happier. And guys, that's something we should say about fulfilling a grail. Okay, when you fulfill a grail or something that you've been longing for in collecting for a good while, guys, the sense of fulfillment is amazing. Not that you can't get fulfillment from anything else, obviously, but the sense of fulfillment in your collection feels good, and you enjoy it for a while, or at least until that very next hunt begins, or until something much better comes along. But it doesn't mean that it loses its value in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so that's the way it is for me at the very least. I really love these characters, these things. Every Voltron in my collection, even if it's something that's not a well-produced item, it's something that I will enjoy for the remainder of my years. And hopefully, when those years do happen to expire, I hope that my children will be able to enjoy them in some capacity. Now, let's move on. Let's not get stuck in details. Okay, so next runner-up. Next runner-up is going to be this guy right here. Okay. Can we focus? All right, great. So this is a Garbage Pail Kids, obviously. Number is B21A. Let me see if we can get the year on there. 2013. Okay. The name of this character is Voltron. All right, and this is a guy. This is a character that's painted to look very much like a Cabbage Patch Kid. And if you're from the 80s, you're completely familiar with Garbage Pail Kids, all right? These were kind of a parody of the popularity of Cabbage Patch Kids, and they had exploding booger faces, exploding diarrhea characters. These were kind of gross out, funny takes on Cabbage Patch Kids with their own funny names. And there was a lot of wordplay. The art was pretty funny and great to look at. And I myself, being a kid from the 80s, I love these things. To the day I still have a couple of them from the original one, specifically the one that looked just like a Macross Valkyrie. I still have that one and I love it. It's part of my Macross collection. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the character, but I still love these things. So again, when you're doing research on Voltron collections rather, I came upon an image of this, and again, it hit me. I was like, what the heck is that? I gotta have it. So for the longest time, I had been trying to get one, and this one is not technically hard to get. Okay, I mean it is rare. It is rare because it's a chase sticker in that 2013 set. It's from a bonus piece, and I think there may be like one every couple of cases of the Garbage Pail Kids. So it does command a premium on the secondary market. Most of these command a price that's anywhere north of $100. Okay, and a couple of years ago, this guy went up for auction. I think it was on eBay, and I was able to get him for about half of the value that most of them go for. I was ecstatic. I was really happy to get one, and now this card will forever be in my collection. Okay, so there it is. This is my second runner-up. Okay, right? Let me make sure I have the count right. Okay, we've got 4, 3, 2. First runner-up. Okay, sorry, first runner-up, Voltron, Garbage Pail Kids. Okay, let's put this guy down and let's move on. Okay, now we're gonna get into my true grails. Okay, my true grails. So I'm gonna say number five grail, and you know, and these, and even though I'm assigning numbers to these, you know, those numbers could change on any given day, you know, depending on how I feel about them. Okay, but all of these I love, and they're all very dear to me. Okay, so so take these numbers with a grain of salt, and let's get into it. Okay, so number five. Okay, number five is this guy. All right. Now, this is a flash drive memory stick made by Incubot Productions, Voltron, Defender of the Universe flash drive. This is a 2 GB memory stick. Side of the box. Back of the box. I don't know if that's in focus. In focus. Oh, too close. There it is. Other side. Now, supposedly these were other characters, like a cross cell, but they never made those. The vehicle Voltron and the Albegas Voltron. Top of the box, Voltron flash drive, and the bottom of the box. Okay. Now, here is the character. Okay, here is the flash drive. Excuse me. Now, this is I'm gonna say maybe about 3 or 4 inches. Let's take a measuring ruler out and find out here. Okay, so yeah, he's around 4 inches. Okay, and this is a 2 GB memory card. Okay, it splits at the waist. And there's your memory drive. Okay, and I don't know how useful these are anymore. This is only 2 gigs. Okay, and this is mostly, it's made of that colored rubber. Okay, there is some printed elements on it. All right, when you plug it in, that chest emblem lights up. It lights up red, and it does come preloaded with an episode of the original Voltron cartoon. It does have an accessory, and that being his blazing sword. Okay, and let me tell you a little bit about these. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of history. So these were originally manufactured around late 2010, maybe 2011. Okay, and they were sold online. They were also sold in certain like electronic boutiques, maybe like EB Games, or or GameStop, the Fry's. I'm not sure if they were like in Radio Shack back in the day. This is the back of it. But I did come across it once in, I'm going to say 2011, at my local Fry's. I was there and I saw it. And I swear to you, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. A Voltron memory flash drive. And I had no need for an external memory flash drive. So when I saw it, immediately I thought, well, it's not something that I need. And the price was originally around $40. And I thought, well, that's pretty expensive for this little thing. And so I didn't really see the need to purchase it right then and there. So I didn't purchase it. And boy, did it bite me in the butt, because, because I was thinking here, I'll come back and get it maybe when it goes on sale or something. And that one day is the only day I ever saw it. After that, I never came across them. Okay, I never came across it, at least in person. Okay, I didn't really look online, but I thought, oh, I'm just gonna go back to Fry's, and it's gonna be there, and I'll be able to buy it at a discounted price, and and great, But that didn't happen. So you forget about it for a couple of years, and as you're filling out the ranks of your collection, you start to remember things that you missed out on, as you start to fill those spaces, and say, oh yeah, and so again, this piece I was able to get last year, okay, and this was another seller. He put this up on Mercari, and that moment that I got the notice, I was like, bam, I'm gonna get it right now. I offered him original retail price. I offered him those $40. And guys, these never come on sale. Never. I mean, I hadn't seen one on sale for like the last 3 years. When I saw it, I think he wanted like $60, but I gave him. I said I'll give you $40, and and luckily nobody else contacted him that initial couple of hours. He said, "Fine, I'll do the deal." Nobody's gotten in contact with me. And so I scored $40, and I explained to him how grateful I was, and I explained to him that that obviously it's coming to a major fanatic of Voltron merch. So here it is, and I'm super happy that this thing is in my collection. Okay, and 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 again, you can do your own research. Okay, so a Voltron 2 gig memory flash drive by Incubot. Incubot. Okay, and again, these never come up on sale, and they're really hard to come by now. So this was a grail for me. It fits the bill for being a grail for me. And so now that it's in my collection, I'm so happy. I feel so relieved that it filled that space for this particular item. Okay, let's move on. So, number 4. Number 4 is going to be this hunky guy right here. All right. Now, this is obviously Voltron Lion Force. Okay, this one was produced by Icarus Toys. Okay, this was produced around 2017, 2018. Okay, it was originally slated for 2017, but it did come out 2018 for the most part. Now, when this came out, I did pre-order it, and then that pre-order was canceled because the seller, I don't remember who the seller was originally. But the seller originally, sent me an email like, "Oh, we're not gonna get enough of these. We have to cancel it." So they gave me like a coupon, like $10. Sorry, we couldn't fulfill your order, kind of thing. And so then it didn't happen. And so then I found another seller. Now these were like, for a while they were like, like nobody had them. They were all out of stock online. And again, this was like 2018. 2019, like if you didn't get your pre-order in, like as soon as it came out, as soon as it was posted, like you weren't gonna get it. So later on, I think 2019, I found an online retailer from Indonesia, of all places, that said they had them in stock. Oh no, there was a pre-order, and that they were gonna get a bunch in stock. And so I said, "Here, take my credit card." And so I waited, guys. I waited maybe for about 2 to 3 years, and I never got it. And finally, I sent them an email, and they said, "We're sorry. We had to, we have to refund you. We're not going to get them. They never fulfilled our order." So I don't know what happened. Okay, as far as I can tell from the research I've done, is that originally these were produced by a company called Mad Toys. All right, and they couldn't secure the license from WEP, from World Events Productions. And then once they secured the license, which was their plan, they had given it to a company called Icarus, or Mad Toys became Icarus Toys. I'm not sure exactly what happened. This was in China. Okay, but Icarus Toys released this, and they also released the black version. And I don't collect black versions. I only collect the full color versions. But when it was released in very limited quantities, and they quickly lost the license. Okay, so they weren't able to produce these in the quantities that they had promised the retailers. And so what happened is, like if you got it, you were lucky. If you didn't get it on a pre-order, too bad, so sad. So that was my case, and I didn't get it. And so last year, yes, last year again, 2024 was a good year for my Voltron collection. So there was another seller put it up on auction on eBay. All right. Now you can still find a couple on eBay, a couple of this Icarus Toys Voltron Line Force, but these guys want anywhere north of like $800 for one. Okay, it's some guy wanted like thousand something. It's ridiculous, but these are very hard to find. They're very rare, and it's really lucky when you find them in good condition. Okay, so this seller put it up on auction. I was lucky enough to win the auction. And then and now it sits here in my collection, and it definitely filled that void. And I was so disheartened when I couldn't get my pre-ordered, and now it's fulfilled. And I may have overpaid because I definitely didn't pay what the original retail. Original retail was around $300, so I paid a little bit north of that. But that's okay. Okay, I'm just happy it's here. It looks great. I'm not gonna do a review on this, guys. That's again Icarus Toys Voltron. I'm sure there's plenty of reviews online, but it's a great toy. It looks great. The paint looks amazing. And I'm just happy that he's here again to fill that role of that toy that got away, and now it's here, and it'll forever be here. Okay, let's move on. Let me put you in the back. Okay, so that was my number 4. Okay, now let's move on to my number 3. Oh my god. Holy moly, you guys. We just had an earthquake. Whoa. Sorry about that, guys. We just had an earthquake. I had to make sure my family was okay, and nothing was damaged. Luckily, it wasn't a strong earthquake. So I think I'll be okay to continue the video for now. But if anything happens, you guys will see it on record here. Okay. I'm gonna cross my fingers, knock on some wood, and hopefully nothing will happen. Okay. Hey, it's fun to live in California, right? So here we go. Number two holy grail for me. Okay. Now what I have here for you is this is a this is a fast food toy. It's a kids meal toy that was made for a company, a restaurant called Jollibee, and I'm not Filipino, but this was made for a Filipino company called Jollibee. Okay, and this was part of their kids meal, and these were released in 2008. All right, and as you can see, these were modeled after the Toynami. And let me take out a Toynami so you can see the resemblance. Okay, this is the Toynami. All right. And I'll stand this guy next to him. Okay. Oh, these lovely Toynami wonky legs. Okay. Now, you got one lion on different occasions when you went and got a meal, a kid's meal at Jollibee in 2008. And they weren't around for a very long time. I think even in the Philippines, they're pretty scarce. At least complete sets are. Okay, they came with a base, they came in a baggie, and you were able to get one lion each time you got a kid's meal. Okay, so these became scarce pretty quickly, and if you were lucky enough to be in the Philippines at the time, you were able to get your hands on some of these. If you weren't, then you were kind of like me, and you were just you were just lucky to find them online, if you found them at all. And when you did find them online, initially they were really expensive. Okay, they're still really expensive, and now nearly impossible to find. Okay, most of these are just now in people's permanent collections, just like mine is. I don't plan on selling any of my collectibles. Okay, at least for the foreseeable future. Okay, um, and uh, and so this guy I was able to procure. Uh, I'm gonna say around 4 years ago. No, maybe about 6 years ago. I was able to procure him. Okay, and he wasn't cheap. He wasn't cheap at all, but he wasn't anywhere near the prices that people are asking for these days. Okay, but regardless, I am a fanatical Voltron collector, so I thought, this guy's got to be in my piece. And for the longest, I try to, you wait around as a collector. You wait around for a fair price, in good condition, and uh, and luckily, a few years back, I was able to get this one. It was complete. It was from a seller in New York, and this seller had a couple of them to sell. He was lucky enough, and usually when I find a Grail online, whether it's on eBay, whether it's on Mercari, I usually always contact the seller, and I try to give them a little background, into who I am as a collector, and see if I can relate to them, on that collector side, and maybe we share that passion for collecting, for Voltron, that nostalgia. So I really do like to connect with sellers, and maybe sometimes I can get a better deal, sometimes I can't. And in this case, the seller told me and reminded me of something important in collecting. He said, as a collector, if I see something I want and I have the means right there, I'm gonna get it. Okay, because 9 times out of 10, when you don't get it, you're just going to regret it later on, and it's going to be twice as much for you to get, which tends to happen more often than not. Okay, so you reminded me of that, and so I I I got it. Obviously paid way more than I wanted to pay for it, but I am now definitely happy, because if I had waited, prices that it's commanding now are ridiculous. Okay, ridiculous. And even though he's not the prettiest Voltron out of all of them, he's still very rare and hard to come by. So it definitely fits the bill for a Grail, and I'm so happy to have him. And he was one of my most expensive Grails. Okay, now let me make sure I have the count right here. Okay, so we got 5, 4, 5, 4, 3. Okay. I may have misspoken, guys. I think this may be my number 3 runner-up. I'm sorry, my number 3. Okay. Forgive me. Math is not my strong suit, obviously. Okay. So this is my number 3. Okay. Now let's move on to my number 2. All right, guys, we're getting near the end here. So this is my number 2 Grail in my Voltron collection. Okay, and this is an original sketch, I believe it's marker, colored sketch of Voltron. This was an item that I won in an auction on eBay, and this was made by a guy named Scott Dalrymple. If I'm butchering the way your name is pronounced, please forgive me, Scott. Okay, that's definitely not the intention. I'm a great big fan of your work. Now, you guys can look up Scott Dalrymple, Dalrymple. Okay, he does a lot of comic characters, fantasy characters, in different poses. These are all original sketches that he auctions online. Usually they go north of $75, sometimes, upwards of a couple $100. All right, but but I regularly look for Voltron art or original Voltron art. And so in my searches, I came across this one in auction, and when I saw it, it was one of those things that just, you know, it called out to me, and I had to have it in my collection. I When you buy it, it's unframed, so I did frame it. Um, and I got this, I believe, towards the end of 2023. Won it in auction, and I think I paid a little bit north of $100 for this sketch. But as you can see, it's an awesome illustration of Voltron, and you know, in that heroic superhero landing pose. And it's just bad, man. It was one bad mama jamma right there, and I love having it, you know, here in my along my collection with Voltron. So he's hanging on the wall, and it just makes me harken back to those moments when I was a kid, and you know, and I saw Voltron, and I thought, man, that is the coolest thing on earth. Like, I couldn't believe it, you know, as a child, when you look at these things, you know, you're so impressionable, and I was definitely impressionable, you guys. You know, I thought, you know, the sun and moon of these characters when I was a little kid. I used to like drawing them myself, you know, and I made these rudimentary, basic, you know, block drawings of Voltron. And then so coming across this and seeing how cool it looks, and I had to have it. I had to have, and this is obviously one of a kind. But he's done many different iterations of Voltron illustrations. Some of them are pretty cool, but I missed out on them. But luckily, I was able to win this one, and I'm super happy with it. And again, this is going to remain in my collection for many years to come. Okay, now I'm gonna set up my number one holy grail, okay? And just as a preface to this, I'm gonna tell you it's a knockoff, okay? And usually I don't consider knockoffs grails, specifically, like, you know, the lion bot, or you know, most of them are variations, and and they were definitely mass produced, you know, when the toys were available back in the 80s, more so, I think, than the Matchbox, or even the Bandai America ones, you know, the what is it, the Godaikin, okay? I used to find those knockoff toys readily available in LA, in many different shops, whereas like the Voltrons and the Godaikins, you know, you were lucky if you found them in Toys R Us, you know, at least close to me, you know. And back in those days, you know, we didn't have eBay, we didn't have online stores, so what I had physically available to me, you know, were a lot of those knockoff toys, okay? But this particular knockoff toy, okay, it was it was a toy that I had when I was a young kid, and the reason I had it was because, again, you know, I love Voltron as a kid, but my parents, my mom, you know, she couldn't afford the regular Matchbox Voltron, which is what I wanted, you know, which was what most kids wanted. I mean, she couldn't even afford the Panache Place Voltron. No? So you know, one time we were walking around the toy district in downtown Los Angeles. Okay, and you know, there's obviously a lot of these Chinese stores, and they sold a lot of these knockoffs, and there are all kinds of knockoffs of you know, these characters from our childhood. But we came across it, and this one, you know, was obviously much cheaper than the Lion bots, which they had tons of. But and they didn't have that many of them, of this particular one when I was a kid. But my mom, you know, I guess she took pity on me, and she said, "Okay, I'm gonna let you take this one." And so I got it. You guys, I loved this toy, you know, and it was all die cast. Okay, and I loved it as a child. I mean, I used to like take it out. I would pet it. I would put it on my bedside dresser. You know, I would clean it daily, dust it, you know, and you know, and he would play with all my other like GoBots, or I had, you know, a couple of like the mini Transformer toys, and you know, I'd make up all these scenarios in my mind and play with them. And this was a daily routine for me, you know, go to school, come back, and you know, it was toy time. And you guys, it was one of those things that made me so happy as a kid. And eventually what happened is we had to move. We had to move. You know, we lived in an apartment in West Hollywood, and and I remember we had to move, and my mom said we're gonna put all of these in storage. You know, all your toys, and you know, I was so distraught as a little kid. I remember being so distraught and so stressed out over the idea of like of taking all these precious toys, you know, and they were truly precious to me, you guys. But taking all these precious toys and putting them in storage where you know, I had like no sight of them, I had no control over what happened to them, and but I had no choice, you know. And so, you know, I packed them up as carefully as a, you know, as a 10-year-old could. And and you guys, you know, they put them in storage. Then we moved to a different place in Los Angeles. And once we moved, you know, we started obviously furnishing the place with newer things. And so these toys, you know, they stayed in storage for a couple of years. Okay. And to make a long story short, okay, when we did find the need, you know, my parents found the need to go back to the storage unit. We found out that it had been broken into and that a lot of the things were stolen. And some of those things were my toys, you guys. And oh my gosh, dude, you guys don't know. Like, I was so heartbroken. I was so distraught. I mean, I remember just bawling, just kind of breaking down and bawling, you know. And to me, those things were irreplaceable, you know. And for the longest time, they were irreplaceable. And obviously, you know, you grow up, you know, you become a teenager, you become an adult, and those things, you know, just become an experience, you know, and a memory, and you know, and you move on, you find other things, you know, and you find relationships and things like that. Um, but I came across this particular piece about 4 years ago, and I had been looking. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'd been looking for this piece for about 15 years. Okay, and so about maybe 5 years ago, 5 6 years ago, I found it, and I found it online, and I'd found several of these, but most of these were incomplete or in terrible condition because again, they were knockoffs. And most, I'm sure most of the people that bought them because they were cheap back in the day, and you know, they played with them, and so obviously they didn't keep them in pristine condition. But this guy, this seller, he had it in he had a case of these. And so the case, I think, came with four in the case. And I think he was selling all of them. So these were in pristine, sealed condition. And he wanted a boatload of money, guys, a boatload of money. And for the longest time, I was just not going to do it. I was not going to do it. I mean, like, this was beyond any reasonable budgetary concern, you know. And I have bills to pay, and, you know, family, things like that. And so I wasn't gonna do it. And then, you know, one day I told my wife, I was like, honey, I was like, what do you think? You know, this would fulfill like my greatest grail that I've been hunting for my Voltron collection. And so guys, you know, like, she gave me the green light. She said, go ahead. So you guys, you know, I didn't hesitate. You know, I pulled the trigger on it and I got it. And you guys, I'm so happy to have it. I'm so happy to have it. Okay, and let me get it set up for you guys so you can see it too. All right, you guys, here it is. My number one holy grail in my Voltron collection is this Lion bot. Okay, this is what many in the collecting community refer to as the mini Voltron or the mid-size Voltron. Okay, and so this is it, you guys. This to me was my biggest grail. You know, I have all kinds of the the original Voltron, the Matchbox. I have a Japanese Go Lion. I have like 2 or 3 different Lion bots, still in box. I have a couple of the variations, the upside down star. I have the double V belt. I have a diamond belt. And obviously a Matchbox one. I have a Matchbox one from when I purchased one when I was in college. All right, and I still have it to this day, and I'm many years removed from college. So I was never able to get this one, and again, when my wife gave me the green light to go ahead and press the trigger on this one, I was so ecstatic, you guys. I couldn't wait till I arrived. And I remember emailing the seller, and just telling him how much of a grail this piece was for me. And again, he told me, man, just pull the trigger. He said, you're not gonna regret it. And he did not budge at all on the price. Did not budge, and rightfully so. You can't find these anymore. They're never going to be remade. They were never licensed to begin with, so they were never manufactured in the same quantities as the regular size Lion Bot or the regular size Voltron or Go Lion. Okay, those you can, some of them you can find anywhere between 300 upwards to like $1,000 on regular condition. I'm talking about the regular size Voltron. Okay, but these right here, guys, you're not gonna find them. Okay, I mean, I heard there's a couple in Italy. There's a couple of these in sale in Italy, but dealing with Italian customs and shipping is really sketchy. There are a couple of collectors who were lucky enough to have these in their collection, and most of these were overseas collectors, because I think these were more readily available overseas. Again, this was like Chinese knockoff. Okay, but this to me is my grail. Okay, and let me take off the slip cover. And the only reason I'm taking it off is because the tape is so old, you guys, that it just disintegrated. Okay, it just disintegrated. Like, there's a tape. Look, it doesn't. When you pull it, it disintegrates. But let me show you the box. Okay, there's the side. It does have a handle on it. All right. There's the left side. The bottom. Lion Bot. The right side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's carefully remove this covering. Push this down. Oh, you guys, I get so nervous handling this. Oh, all right. Down. Whoa, whoa, whoa! The slip cover is coming off. Okay, there it is. All right, let's leave that guy there. Let me adjust the camera, you guys. So. All right, you guys. So there it is with its slip cover inside. And you can see obviously the black lion, red lion, green lion, yellow lion. It comes with its space cutter, the tanking sword as its name there, or obviously the blazing sword. Okay, now the slip cover again. This tape that it was sealed with does not stick anymore. Okay, it does not stick. It's just being held there as decoration now. Okay, but this was completely sealed, unopened condition when I purchased it. Very lucky to just be able to find it. Okay, and blessed to be able to purchase it. Okay, so let me take out the original Matchbox Voltron so we can compare the size. Okay, you guys. And as you can see, all right, this is directly in front. All right. There you can clearly see like the black lion in the box versus the black lion from the original Matchbox one. I mean, these were tiny, very well painted, die cast. These were all die cast. Okay. They transform, they combine, just like the regular. Whoa, 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 whoa. They combine just like the regular Voltron or regular Lion Bot. Okay, get back in. Sorry. Whoa, 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 whoa. That was an accident. Avoided. Okay. They do combine. Okay. And it forms a little tiny, like 6 to 8 inch Voltron. Okay, that's adorable. Okay, there are a couple of differences. So the bodies are basically die cast. Okay, the heads are plastic. There's obviously chrome in the legs, and it functions just like the regular Voltron. Okay, the only difference is going to be that the arms, the joints have no articulation in the mid joint. Let me see if I can focus in on one of them here. So this guy right here has no articulation in that middle joint, okay? But the heads shoot out just like the regular one, okay? It doesn't have the pull-out mechanisms or like the fold-out ears for the yellow lion, like the regular ones. There's that green Voltron. I'm sorry, the green lion. And I'm sorry, guys, I don't mean to be a tease and, and just show you this and not take them out. But again, this is sealed in condition, so I want to keep it as pristine as possible. These are also very delicate, you guys, very delicate. So you don't want to mess with these too much. Now, another major difference is that here with the black lion, the black lion doesn't have the black on the upper part of the thighs. And another major thing would be the head. The ears don't fold out. The ears are molded into the head, so they don't fold out like the regular Voltron. And also the legs, as you can see, the legs don't have that black cover. Okay, these just basically just tuck in, so they remain visible in the Voltron configuration. Okay, and there it is, you guys. These are my top 5 Grails. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this. Sorry to have made such a long video. But again, hit like, hit subscribe. I'll be making some videos that are upcoming. One based on the 3.0 VF1S. So if you're interested in the 3.0 VF1S, definitely hit subscribe. Leave me a comment, you guys. Okay, tell me what your Grails are. Make me a list. Let's talk about it in the comment section. Right, thank you and happy collecting.